Hi, so I wanted to record this part of what I've learned over the years about NDEs, so near-death experiences. So the first thing is I was first introduced to it probably through the Unexplained series. I started watching it on Netflix, I believe, and it intrigued me. And when I searched on YouTube, there were maybe like a few years back, maybe 1 or 2 years back, around 2022-ish. But it was really intriguing, and so I searched it up on YouTube because I wanted to kind of find out if anyone verified the near-death experiences that people had. And I was blown away by, I mean, not all cases, but by some cases that what the person sees in the operating room was verified by their doctor, by the nurses. And so one of the cases that I came across was pretty much what one doctor called like a white crow case of Pam Reynolds, and she her full like interview or full recount is in this link. And then there was a BBC or an NBC version of it that they took snippets from that first interview and put it together here. And so and then I recently, yesterday actually, so May 17th, 2024, I watched this interview with the doctor, Dr. Michael Sabom, and he actually is one of the pioneers in this space, and he is actually featured in Pam's interview because he actually interviewed her too as part of his study. And so, and what got me back into this was like recently, maybe a month or two ago, I watched After Death. It was a really like well-made documentary, and it featured Dr. Sabom. And so when Sean McDowell, who I admire, featured him on his channel, I had to watch it. And all this to say, and then after that, I watched this research at UVA, and it talks about people who had real NDEs saying that their experience is more real than real, and that is consistent with the testimony that I've heard about people with near-death experience, that they felt more alive, their senses were heightened. And so all of these put together made me believe that NDEs are real. They show us that life is not, that death is just a transition. And actually, like in this one, they actually had like a snowman. It's like a change of state.
Well, existence, but NDE suggested it may be more like a change of state.
Yeah, so you can see snowman carrying a dead body, which is actually just another form of the snowman in liquid form, or we actually can think of it as a gas form, but you can't really draw gas that well, so it's like a spirit. That, like, through these near-death experiences, like testimonies, I feel like when I heard it, I was amazed that it matches so well with the biblical account. That God is a God of love. That right here, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who has been born of God and knows God, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. So, and so people who have near-death experience feel this loving, not everyone, someone goes into this dark place, but the ones that I listen to, most of them talk about a light, talk about this loving being, and actually those are actually characteristics that are common across NDEs worldwide, cultural-wise. So that then, like the Bible states clearly, that life, like this world, is not all there is. The dualism view that the Bible proposed, that the body is just a temporal place for the soul, and the soul is what is eternal. The soul will be with God if you are his child, or the soul will be separated from God. And people actually says that there are instances that they don't go to the light, they go to a place of darkness, and that place is like just not good. They don't want to be there, they don't belong there. And that's what the Bible says, that hell wasn't created for human. Hell wasn't created for it was created for the fallen angels and those who follow Satan. And so and of course we don't feel like we belong there, but we choose to go there by stepping over the salvation gift of Jesus, by stepping over the death and resurrection of Jesus willingly. And so much of it matches up, and people who want to discredit it, who doesn't believe in it, like they are dismissing a significant amount of evidence. And it comes down to interpretation. How are you going to interpret the evidence? Not everyone is going to look at the evidence and think the same way. You're colored by your worldview, by your experiences. But if you know that the Bible is true and you interpret the evidence in light of the Bible, it shows you that what God says matches up. All of this makes me like strengthen my faith that what God says about death, what I understand about death, is validated by these experiences. And that the one interesting thing that Dr. Sabam actually said was that people who with different religions have NDEs, and it doesn't mean that they change their belief. So whatever belief that they came in with, they might leave it like they interpret that experience in the context of their belief. That means not everyone believed like that they met God. That light figure they would describe, but not everyone would say that that light figure is God. And so they continue on with their current belief, and that's really interesting to me. So if I truly believe that if you seek God with all of your heart, He will be found. He is waiting for you. He is waiting to give you answers. You just need to be open and sincere in wanting to know, and be okay with changing your mind about faith, about things like near-death experiences. I believe that these are made up before, but I was okay looking it up, like seeing, are there cases where I can't, it's corroborated, it's documented, it's verified by third party, similar to what Dr. Sabam like criteria was. Like those things solidify my faith. These are just important information that I want to save, that later on my children can revisit and they can draw the conclusion for themselves. And I actually hope that these things that I save will be something that will edify their faith. It's not proof for the faith. I don't think it's proof for the faith. It strengthens the faith. Like basically you kind of wrestle with God, and then you come to a point where you submit and surrender to Him and say that He is Lord, and His word is, He is who He said He is. But then you believe that in your head and a little bit in your heart. And then after that, you learn more about Him, you understand His character, you understand His kind of like, you can't fully understand His way, but you can understand a part of what His way, the things that He revealed in the Bible to us. But then you get these experiences and you get these knowledge that kind of like say, oh, He said this matches it. He said this matches it. So then you're like, yeah, what I believe, it's continuously kind of like solidified. It gets a little bit stronger each day as you find evidences that can kind of support that you can put under your belt, and this was one of them.